Hello, and thank you for joining me for another Behind the Character episode. In this video, I thought it would be worthwhile looking at the formidable and infamous Solas ahead of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which I can't wait for. Now, if you're new to this video series, what I'm going to do is look back on the lore, background, details, and theories surrounding Solas, including both in-game events, but also extra lore and details that we learn as we go. Naturally, spoilers are ahead for all Dragon Age games pre-Veilguard, and depending on when you're watching this video, some of the themes we discuss may have been expanded on or added to in Veilguard. This is more of a recap into Solas for those about to play the game. I won't book you throughout this video, so I will politely ask now, if you do find yourself enjoying this, then please do hit subscribe. Your small channel and your support is hugely appreciated. Alright, let's go behind the character. On the face of it, Solas is an elven mage, but it goes much deeper than that. We are first introduced to him in Dragon Age Inquisition, the Veilguard's predecessor. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of that game, but if you do need a refresh on the story and the events of it, then you can watch my recap by clicking up here, something I recommend you do before jumping into the Veilguard. Solas is a renowned expert on the Fade. The Fade is a metaphysical realm in Thedas separated by the Veil, an invisible barrier between the physical world and the Fade. The Fade has many different interpretations. Some believe it to be home of demons and spirits, and generally a pretty bad place, whereas most elves revere it as almost a heavenly realm, home to their old gods. Because of his expert knowledge, when Solas saw the breach emerge above the Temple of the Sacred Ashes, his obsession with the Fade compelled him to investigate. He was given special permission by Cassandra to study the lone survivor, soon to become the Inquisitor, to try and decipher what happened to cause the rift. After the Inquisitor awaits and suitably convinces their captors that they are just an innocent bystander in the event, Solas meets him or her while fending off some demons near the temple. Utilizing his knowledge and already formulated theory, Solas uses the Inquisitor's mark on their hand, known as the Anchor, to help close a smaller rift. Solas then vows to join the Inquisition to help seal the main breach and defeat its creator, Corypheus, although he does have an ulterior motive, which we'll delve into. Alongside fighting Corypheus and providing his unique knowledge, Solas' main contribution to the Inquisition is keeping the Inquisitor alive. He manages to stabilize the Anchor and prevent it from growing, thus saving Inky's life. Now at this point, I would usually travel back to the character's backgrounds, predating the events of this game, but given how widely known the twist with Solas is, I'll stick with the events of Dragon Age Inquisition before we look at Solas' baby photos. A short while after the Inquisition is formed, their base of Haven is destroyed during a fight with Corypheus and either corrupted mages or corrupted Templars, player dependent. Solas informs the group of a new location which they can inhabit. It turns out to be a massive fortified castle known as Skyhold. How convenient. I love video games. En route there, Solas explains in confidence to the Inquisitor that the orb which Corypheus carries, which seems to be the root of his power, is actually of elven origin, and that his people use them to access ancient elven magic. Hold that thought, we'll come back to it. Along the journey, the Inquisitor meets Flemeth. Flemeth is a bit of a legend in Dragon Age world, known largely as an immortal shape-shifting witch mother to Morrigan and, well, many others. Flashing forward to the ending events of Inquisition, the Inquisitor and their pals eventually defeat Corypheus after a long but surprisingly easy boss fight. During said fight, however, the Elven Orb is destroyed, leaving Solas distraught. Before we can celebrate and head to the pub, we notice that Solas has gone. Dun dun dun. Leliana, possibly known as Divine Victoria come the time of the Veilguard, dispatches her network of spies and trackers to try and find Solas, but informs the Inquisition that after months of trying, Solas has vanished. In a post-credit scene, we see Flemeth again with Solas. Flemeth greets Solas as the Dreadwolf, as well as calling him an old friend. We also learn that Flemeth is actually the possessed spirit of Mythal, the elven god. Solas then explains that he allowed the orb to fall into the hands of the Venatori, and by extension Corypheus, so they could unlock its true power, claiming he could not accomplish this after his long slumber. Solas does at least seem aware of his events and the part that they have caused, and even seems to show some remorse, but then claims he can't face punishment desperate yet, as his people need him. The Elven Maid then embraces Flemeth, but seemingly petrifies her in the process. Flemeth appears to turn to stone, with Solas' eyes burning with a blue light, and then he says,
"I'm the bad guy."
With that, Inquisition ends. Now, the final exposure to Solas pre the Veilguard is the Trespasser DLC, and that is probably the most important story ahead of playing Veilguard, as it directly explains Solas' motives. There's a full recap of that DLC on my channel, but let's briefly overview it here. 2 years on from the main game, the Inquisitor is called upon to stop a Qunari plot, but unbeknownst to the Inquisitor, we'd actually been manipulated into doing this by Solas himself, who had embedded spies in the Inquisition. Eventually, we find Solas and confront him, and we learn that he has been remaining elusive by using illuvions and travelling between them. Solas also demonstrates stronger powers since we last saw him, now with the ability to petrify someone with a mere glance. In the journey to find Solas, we learn that he is actually Fen Harel, something Solas will confirm here or reveal if you didn't discover it for yourself earlier. Fen Harel, according to Elven legend, is the god of betrayal and rebellion, also known as the Dreadwolf, which out of interest was the initial project title for this upcoming Veilguard game. Solas explains his backstory that he fought the Evanuris, which is the pantheon of elven gods. Following this, as a means to protect the world from the Evanuris, Solas created the Veil and banished the elven gods to the Beyond, and then he fell into a long slumber. However, this act had devastating effects on the elven people, stripping them of their immortality and severely damaging their magic abilities. Because of this, Solas awoke and vowed to restore his elven people, no matter the cost to the rest of Thedas. Herein lies the events of Dragon Age Inquisition. His plan was to allow Corypheus to unlock the orb, but assumed he would die in the process, to which he would reclaim the orb, tear down the veil using the anchor, and restore the world into how it was before, plunging the rest of the world into chaos in the process. He states that although he failed, he will continue in his mission. The Inquisitor can try and talk him out of this, but no matter how high your approval rating, even if he was your romance partner, he will not listen. As a parting gift, if you can call it that, Solas removes the Inquisitor's arm and in turn the anchor, which prior to this meeting had started to behave erratically and was on the verge of killing him / her. Solas, if on high affinity rating, wishes us luck before departing. So that's what the main game story tells us about Solas, but let's dive into some of the lore that we picked up as we went on and explore a bit more about his backstory. Solas claims to have grown up in a small village, but with most things Solas told us, we can assume this isn't entirely true. He spent most of his early life wandering in the wilderness and studying the Fade. This makes him unique as a mage, as many and most fear the Fade and those that reside in it, but Solas is fascinated by it. Now knowing the events of Trespasser, his obsession now makes much more sense. Despite his elven roots, Solas seems to hold disdain for Dalish elves, the nomadic clans of the elves, which are the elves we most likely encounter in Dragon Age Inquisition, and can even be the race of the Inquisitor. When it comes to his characteristics and beliefs, Solas, despite essentially revealing himself to be the villain of the story, actually believes in freedom for those who desire it, and throughout Dragon Age Inquisition, especially the way he reacts to Cole, many state that this is due to his love and fascination with spirits, but for me, Solas, bear with me on this, is fundamentally a good person. Now yes, his quest is a destructive one, but he doesn't openly want people to die. He doesn't openly want to destroy Thedas. He is just desperately trying to undo his wrong and restore his people, to the point he has become blind to the effect it will cause. Solas isn't your traditional villain, and it will be intriguing to see how he is in the Veilguard. I personally hope BioWare stick with this. Sure, make him more powerful, but don't make him evil. The conflicted and almost reluctant villain aura is what I think makes Solas so great. When it comes to fan theories around Solas, there is an abundance. Fans have waited so long since Inquisition and Trespasser that naturally the minds and imaginations have been racing. Despite Solas revealing himself in Trespasser as Fen Harel, many still believe there is more to Solas' identity. One of the oldest theories speculates that Solas is in fact a wisdom spirit summoned by Mythal to help her create human life. Solas' name actually translates to pride, which regular players will know is a term often associated with demons and spirits in the Dragon Age series. Solas throughout the game showcases empathy and fascination towards spirits, most notably demonstrated with Cole. Now this could be because his background is similar to Cole and he's also from the spirit world. This theory explores the idea that he was brought to Thedas by Mythal and given a body as a means to be her lieutenant and provide her wisdom while she created life. Solas had no desire to possess a body, but did so for the love of his queen, Mythal. After Mythal was later killed by her own people, the Elven gods, Solas then sought revenge, thus starting the events of Dragon Age. Another theory, detailed by Redditor Nuvalesi, explains that Solas is actually the immortal Great Dragon. When Nuvalesi says dragons, he doesn't literally mean Solas will suddenly start flying around and breathing fire. They believe that dragons can take many forms. Dragons were once said to rule the sky, and this all changed upon the creation of, the Veil. Aurelian Titus, a Tevinter Magister, believes that dreamers, which is an ancient word for mages, needed the blood of great dragons to become a dreamer, which would suggest that the old gods are great dragons. The full theory is a long and very well thought out one, and I do suggest checking out the full thread on Reddit, or I may even do a separate video on it, as it delves heavily into different source material which we don't have time to cover in this video. There is a plethora of amazing Solas theories, and I'm almost certain that one of them is going to be correct, and hopefully we learn more about Solas' true identity in the Veilguard. If you're about to dive into that game, enjoy. Let's hope it lives up to our high expectations, and thank you for watching this video. For more videos just like this and story recaps, then please do hit subscribe. Thank you.